For a lot of people, the first time they experience a mental health issue will be when they go away to university, and we can talk about why. First thing to say is that it's a really vulnerable time of life, actually. You're taking your first steps outside the family environment. So you're technically an adult, so all the expectations that brings, but actually you don't have the experience under your belt yet of having come across everything. So you might have to sort out going to the post office for the first time you've ever done. You might have to learn how to cook, all that kind of stuff. In a few years' time, you'll have that all under your belt. But here you're in quite a vulnerable state where it's quite easy to be knocked off course or for things that happen to really get to you and really get through your defences and hurt you. Here are some other reasons why this might affect you going to university. So one big thing that we see quite a lot is not knowing when to stop doing my work. So often getting to university, you've got there because you've worked really hard. Now at school, taking the approach of I should work as hard as I possibly can until all my work is done is fine because there's a limited amount of homework. I work really hard, but then it's done, then I can relax. It starts to get a bit blurry as you get into GCSEs and A-levels with the introduction of coursework, because when do I know when to stop? At university, you could be in the library 24/7. So it's quite common for people to get kind of sucked into this. I should still be tweaking, I should still be doing, I should still be working, and I'm exhausting myself, which means actually my work isn't that good anyway. And then I start to feel like I'm failing, and then I get really down or really anxious. This is another thing as well, which can be underestimated, which is if you've got a little bit of anxiety or you're quite down before you go to university, what might have been protecting you is the routine that was around you. So even if you're not feeling great, you've got to get out of bed anyway, you've got to go to school because you've got to be there for a particular time. Even your meal times, they're set by your parents rather than by you, so you've just got to be there. When you're at university, there's none of that. There's no structure around you whatsoever. You don't have to be in the morning. Meal times are up to you for when you do it, so it requires quite a lot of motivation. And before you know it, it can easily fall into staying up till 3 a.m, being in bed till midday, having no motivation to go out and do anything. And quite quickly you lose all sense of structure and routine. And that can really get you down as well. This can be an underestimated one too. Usually, if you're going to university, part of what that's been about is you feeling pride in your academic ability and feeling like perhaps you're towards the top of the class. And maybe that's been your experience. Then you get to university and maybe that's not the case anymore. Maybe actually there are people there that are way more clever than you or way more academically prepared than you are, and you suddenly feel like a tiny little failure. It's not fair, but it's how it can feel, and that can start to drag you down. Finally, sometimes you go to university to do a course and you thought you had this path laid out in front of you, particularly if you're going to do a vocational course like medicine or architecture or something, and then you find out that actually you hate it. So you get there and you hate it, and you don't even know why you've chosen it in the first place, probably because you've been encouraged by somebody else. And suddenly you don't know what to do. I can't quit, but I can't face this job. I can't even face this course. What am I supposed to do? And that can feel panicky and it can really freeze you. So, yes, it's an adventure. Yes, it's exciting, but it's perfectly reasonable to be affected by it too.